Well, hello and welcome to the channel, everybody. Today I am reviewing some new tech that I've bought. I've had it for quite a while, but I just haven't gotten around to putting it on the bike and testing it out, and to be honest, I wished I had, because that is a godsend. So I will be looking at the remote control triggers or buttons, whatever you want to call them, for the Insta360 and the GoPro Hero 8 Black. So if that's something you're interested in and it may be some use to you, hang around. But first, roll the credits. Okay, welcome back, everybody. So this first part of the video is going to be on the bike footage, just to explain how they work, and then later on in the video we'll take it inside and I'll just go through giving you a closer look at the items and how they pair and how they work and everything. So in real life, using them in anger, I have to say that they are very, very good. It can be such an issue when you've got the GoPro either mounted on your chin or mounted at the side of the helmet, and you're in big bulky gloves and you're trying to press the button on the top. It can be really difficult to locate the button exactly and to get a clean press. You can end up moving the position of the camera and getting the angle of the shots out, and obviously you're not aware that you've done that, and you can lose a whole piece of footage due to that. You know, a whole day's riding can be spoiled due to that. So another thing with the Insta360, which is down there, you can see it poking out on the right hand side in front of the bike. Before, every time I wanted to activate that camera and then deactivate it, I would have to stop the bike, get off, walk around, press the button, get back on the bike, then set off again, and it was just a complete balls ache, and it wasn't practical, to be honest. Let me just let these cars pass behind me, they're doing my head in. There you go, see people, there are courteous motorcyclists out there on the road. We aren't all lunatics. But yeah, so you know, it was a real world problem that needed solving, and I think sometime earlier in this year or late last year, I actually said, you know, if I could contribute something to motorcycle vlogging, I'd make a button up where I could control all the cameras, remote control, and hey ho, they'd already been invented. So anyway, how am I getting on with them? Well, yes, I really like them. I would say that the GoPro remote is the better designed remote and easier to use. That's this one down here, there. I'll go into the ergonomics of it in detail when we get back to the home ranch and we get inside and have a look at them. Wow, that was a slippy bit of road. Yeah, so the reason that I like the GoPro one more is it's just got one big button on the front. It's really easy to press, even with the most chunkiest gloves on. Press it, boom, nice big clear display that you can see. Really, really good. And it's one button for record, one button off. And then if you want to start changing modes and things like that, the buttons are on the side, which are a little more fiddly, but the way that I work, I just get my camera set up in the mode that I want to vlog in, and I'll leave it in that mode. If I'm doing anything more intricate, then I'm off the bike, my gloves are off, and it's not an issue. So the most important thing for me is to be able to press record and stop easily and see the display to make sure that it's actually recording. The downside that I don't like about it is there's no wake up feature. So if your camera is switched off and you switch the remote on, you've still got to press the button on the side of the camera, which is an issue for me because my camera is mounted on the side of my helmet, and it's very difficult to press the side button without changing the position of the camera. So I have to leave the camera on all the time, which is an issue with using batteries. So that is the only negative that I can see up to yet with the GoPro controller. Now, the other thing that I don't like as well is you don't get a bracket to attach it to an accessory bar. You just get a strap. Very handy, you know, if you're running or cycling, and you can put it on your wrist and use it as your wrist. What I've done, as you can see, I've just strapped it to my mirror stem, and it works out really good. So it's not that much of a negative really, because the strap does work really well on the handlebars. We'll go on to the Insta360 control now. The Insta360 control, again, it's got its pros and cons. The reason why I think it comes second best to the GoPro controller is the buttons are too small. Even though the buttons are quite big, when you've got big chunky winter gloves on like this, it is quite cumbersome to press the buttons. It's doable, don't get me wrong, but you know, it's a bit more directional. You're spending more time looking down at it, taking your eyes off the road when you're actually using that remote than you are with the GoPro one. However, there are two redeeming features with this one. The Insta360 remote has a wake up feature, so if they're both switched off, when I press the power button on the Insta360 remote, it will switch my Insta360 camera on, and if I switch the power off, it'll power the Insta360 off, so I can save battery in between when I'm actually in recording sessions. I don't have to leave the camera and the remote on all the time, which saves on batteries. And the battery on the Insta360 is really good anyway, but I really do like that feature, and I would have loved that feature on the GoPro remote, to have that ability to power off and power on both the remote and the GoPro at the same time, but it doesn't do that. But other than that, the other thing that I like about the Insta360, it comes with a little cradle. As you can see, it's on the top here, just around the bottom, and it slides in and out, and you can just clip that onto an accessory bar. And again, I think that is a really, really nice touch, because it gives you loads of options where you want to mount the actual remote control on your handlebars. Both have USB charging ports that have got a little waterproof rubber bung in them, like you know you do on most of these things. I think that is a mini USB, if I'm wrong or right. We'll have a look in the house just to jog my memory, but I'm sure that's a mini USB, and I think that is a USB-C. So again, the GoPro's got the better power connection for me. They're a lot easier to use, a lot less fiddly than using the shaped US Mini C or whatever they're called. So all in all, I'm very happy with them. I have to say they are very expensive products. The GoPro, I'll put the price up now, and the Insta360, I'll put the price up now. So as you can see from those two prices, they are expensive items. There are remotes that you can buy from, you know, the non-GoPro, from other manufacturers. I've read mixed reviews about them, so in the end I just thought I'm going to go with the manufactured ones actually made for the camera. I often find that 9 times out of 10 you're better doing that. Not always, you know, but it's better to pay that little bit extra, and you know they are going to work with the cameras as they should do, rather than having a third party one. So yeah, I'm very happy with them. I'm very happy with my purchase. Like I say, I've had them sitting in a drawer for the last couple of month or so, I was tempted to, I've been working down in London recently for the last 2 months, and I was tempted to take them down there with me and get them working down there, but it was such a fast ball, and I was, you know, flapping around, throwing everything in a bag. I had to get down there really quick. It was just, it wasn't a priority at the time, and I was struggling for space and everything. So yeah, I wished I had done though, because it would have been a godsend down in London for the videos that I filmed down there. If you take a look on the channel, I had a look at the bike shed. I also had a look at the Ace Cafe. Two very interesting, informative videos, if I say so myself. So if you would like to take a look at them, I will put the links up now. Wow, everybody, just look at that. I don't come on this road very often. The chain link bridge is closed down. It's having renovation works done. But yeah, I should come out along this road more often, because it is absolutely stunning. Really, really picturesque. I've forgotten how nice it is out here. And as ever in the Scottish borders, you know, there is just no traffic. Oh, it's so nice to be home after, you know, living in a city for nearly 2 months, to come back here. You know, I'm always banging on about how I feel really lucky to live here, but it really, really has enforced it, spending 2 months in a city, commuting every day through traffic, to come back to this. Oh my word. Okay everybody, so I'll give you an example of how the remotes work. So for example, if I was driving down this lane and I saw a view or something in the distance that I really wanted to get a shot of as I'm driving along, normally I would have to stop, jump off the bike, walk around, press the button, walk back, get on the bike, drive off. It'd be a right palaver. Whereas with this, all I do, I look down, I press the button, and as you can see, it comes on, the camera's on, and it's now recording. As simple as that. You know, how easy is that? And then again, as I'm driving along and I finish waffling away with the absolute nonsense that comes out of my mouth in these videos, and I think, right, I need to switch it off, I need to save the battery. Again, I'd have to stop, get off, blah de blah de blah. Now all I need to do, press the button, and there you can see, light's gone to blue. It's now stopped recording, and that will go into standby. I think the screen stays on for a few seconds, well, 30 seconds, something like that, and then eventually the screen will go off. I can't actually switch it off if I want to. I just go and I press the button down and I hold the button, and it switches this off and it switches that off, and then there's no power being used at all. What I tend to do with the Insta360 is, because it's got such a good battery life, I just leave it like that with the blue light on. It's in standby, and it'll stay like that for ages without draining the battery. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, we're starting to lose the light. I am heading for home, so we'll take the remotes inside and we'll have a close look at them, how big they are, you know, how easy they are to handle, and just give them a good basic close-up look on the camera. Okay, so now we're inside, let's take a closer look at the actual remotes themselves. So first of all, here they are side by side, so you can get an idea of the comparison in size and ergonomics. So roughly both about the same thickness, both roughly around about the same weight. However, the GoPro is short and stubby, where the Insta is a little bit longer and a little bit sleeker. The main differences between the two is that on the GoPro you have a bigger screen and you just have the one button on the front for record and stop record, whereas on the Insta360 the screen is a lot smaller and you have two buttons on the front, record and stop. So slight difference. They're both pretty easy to use. I would say that the GoPro, when you've got big winter chunky gloves on, is easier to use because that button is just so much easier to press, just one button for on and off, whereas these littler ones, you can press them with the chunky gloves on, but it's more directional. You have to spend more time looking down at the actual remote to locate the buttons. Also, I think the screen is a lot clearer and the icons are a lot easier to see just at a glance on the GoPro controller. So let's have a look at the individual controllers and how they actually work. Okay, so starting with the GoPro controller. Now with both of the controllers, the GoPro and the 360, there are upsides and there are downsides. They both have the good points, they both have the bad points, and I think it's just down to, you know, personal choice which one you will prefer and which one you will find easiest to use. As I've said, for actual use on the bike, I do like the GoPro. However, for the features, I prefer the Insta360. So I'm between a rock and a hard place with both of them. Okay, so let's go through the buttons on the GoPro control. So as I've already mentioned, this nice big button on the front for record, stop record, and then when you're going through the menus you use this button also as a select button. On the top you have an on button, which again, this is a downside with this remote, but I suppose you have to have it this way with just having the one big button on the front. You've got this small button which is the on and off button. On the side you also have your mode and you have your setting buttons. Again, two little buttons. Now when you've got big winter chunky gloves on, these are extremely difficult to locate, extremely difficult to work and activate. So on the other side, it's not that much of a problem because the way that I use this remote and my camera, I'm not interested in going through settings and changing camera modes when I'm actually on the go, moving on the bike. I just select what I want to shoot in, I leave it in that mode, and all I'm interested in is being able to activate the camera to record and stop the camera to record as and when I need to. If I need to be going through settings and changing camera modes, 9 times out of 10 I'm going to be stopped. I'm off the bike, I've got my gloves off, so it's not a problem for my usage. However, if you're the kind of person who needs to be changing settings on the fly, then it may be a problem for you. Okay, so we'll have a look how it works with the camera. Now as I said, this is the biggest bugbear. I have to switch the camera on first. Once the camera is up and running, I can then go to the top and I press the on button. Little red indicator light comes on, says connecting, and there we go. Okay, so first of all, the thing I need to mention is whatever mode you last recorded in when you switch the camera off will be the automatic mode that boots up. So for example, if you were shooting in video 4K 60 frames, which I was, and then I switched the camera off, the next time I switch them both on, they will both be back in that mode. Okay, so let's look how to start recording. It is really simple, and this is what I do like best about this remote. To make the camera start recording, I simply press, and there you can see the nice bright red indicator and the nice big screen showing you that it's recording in 4K 60. I really do like that setup. And then once again, to stop it recording, just as easy, press the button and it stops recording. Okay, so the on button at the top also works as a settings button. So if we go one short press, and we have all the settings for the actual remote. I don't know if you can see that, but on the side we have these two buttons here, and those now work as up and down to scroll through the menu. So we've got pair new, orientation, language, reset and exit, and then this button on the front, that works as the select button to get back out or to select whatever you need to select. On the side, if you press the mode button, this will take you through your video, stills, camera, and all the different modes. So camera, and as you can see, it's just, you just keep pressing the button until you get what you want, and then you leave it, and that's what it will stay in. If you press the settings button on the side at the top, then this gives you all, again, you can use the up and down to scroll, and this just gives you all your different shooting modes, as in cinematic, motor, standard, activity, slow-mo, whichever one you want. So I'm just going to leave it in standard, and then I can use the button on the front to select. And there we go. And that is it in a nutshell. It is a very, very good remote, very, very simple to use. When you've got your gloves on, the only functionality that you're really going to be using is to start record and stop record. To do all this scrolling through using these little buttons isn't really practical with big chunky gloves on, so that is for when you're off the bike. But it does what I need it to do. I'm very, very happy with this remote. Biggest downside is this: when I press the button on the top, a long press, and it now says powering off. It's powered off, however, as you can see, the camera is still on, so I now need to power down my camera. It would be absolutely awesome if, when you switched one on, the other one come on without having to activate two different units. Okay, so moving on to the Insta 360 remote. Here you can see them side by side, so you can see how big the remote is in regards to the camera. Now what I like about this most is it's just one press on the remote and it wakes both units up. There's no need to even touch the 360 camera unit itself. And as you can see now, they are both paired. We just wait a few more moments for the GPS to pair as well. And there you can see it's connecting the GPS. Now if we want to start recording, all we do is we press the circular button. And as you can see, we are now recording. And if I want to end the recording session, I just press the same button again and it stops. Simple as. Now if I want to scroll through the settings, I just press the square button, and as you can see, standard, so time lapse, standard, still photograph, and back up into standard video footage. And it's as simple as that. To switch off the camera, I just press and hold the square button, and that's both units switched off. And it really is that simple. Just the same as the GoPro, whatever mode you're in when you switch the camera off, when you switch it back on, that's what mode it will be in again. So it is really, really simple. There's no fiddly little buttons on this one. You haven't got quite as much scope for altering the camera using the remote as you have on the GoPro. However, the buttons are more fiddly on the GoPro to do that side of the settings thing. So all in all, excuse me. So all in all, I think that both remotes are very, very good. They're very useful in the real world. They work really well in the real world. They are slightly expensive, I must say, but for me, doing the moto vlogging thing, they are a godsend, and I am really happy with my purchase. Just to mention charging, On the Insta360 at the bottom we have a little mini USB charging port, and again on the GoPro we have the USB-C type charger. So I think that's a little bit better. It's a lot easier using the USB-C chargers. I would have thought that Insta360 would have gone down that route, as you know most modern devices now are going to the USB type of charger. But all in all, they both have their upsides, they both have the downsides, but they're both great units, and I don't think you can go wrong with these units. As I said, pairing instructions, when you very first pair them, you only have to pair them once, and then they're paired for life. I'm not going to go through that, just read the instructions. It's literally 3 steps. You will be able to pair both of these easily under 30 seconds. It's so simple. Really good feature on both of them. Okay, so that concludes today's video on the remote controls. If you've been thinking about getting some of these remote controls and thinking about using them out in the real world while you're motovlogging, I hope it's answered any questions that you had about them. Well, all that's left to say is, everybody, thank you very much for tuning into the channel and keeping the faith. Have a very Merry Christmas out there. Ride safe. Bike Rider Reviews out.